Hey guys, it's Becky. I am back with another process video. Today I'm going to be using Creative Scrapper's sketch number 246, and also I'm going to be using the Paige Evans collection Pick Me Up for this layout. So as a subscriber had previously asked me, they wanted to see the sketch, like kind of like a picture-in-picture, and so I went ahead and tried to do that. Here is where the problem is. I could not find that sketch. I mean, I know I have a hard copy of it printed out around here somewhere, but I couldn't find it. So I had to use that freeze frame to show the sketch, and there is a lot more on that freeze frame than you need to see. It's going to be the sketch that's over on the right-hand side of that entire picture-in-picture that's up there in the right-hand corner. That's the sketch that I am going to be using. Alright, so you can see there are some circles, and the circles are kind of like pies. So I went ahead and Google searched it and picked this image right here, and I went ahead and printed it on some copy paper twice. One of them I used kind of as a template, and then I cut out the pattern paper with the template, and then I pasted it on the other piece as a template. Does that make sense? So I kind of use it twice, once to cut out and once to paste on, and then I'm going to cut around the circle and have that. I am going to hand stitch all of the circles with some embroidery floss. First I was going to use my sewing machine, but it was not having it. I don't know what the problem was, so I ended up just being like, screw this, you know. I don't have time to fight with this sewing machine, so I went ahead and just hand stitch all the circles. So I think I've done them all at this point. Right here is this yellow paper. That came out of the paper pad, and I am going to be using that as my background. As you can see right here, we skipped forward, so you missed this. You can see there's some white paint on there. I used a adhesive brush and just kind of put it in some white acrylic paint and stippled it along the edges of where I am going to put down those circles. So the circles kind of have like a white ghosting effect. I did cut that out. It did take me quite a bit of time to do the circles and also do the paint. As you can see right there on the right hand side, I used that Dilutions paint, and you can see on that brown, I talked about this in a previous video, when I use the white paint, this specific white acrylic paint on different colored cardstock, when it dries it kind of pulls up the color into the white. It did not do that on this yellow paper, but on that brown piece, you can see over to the right hand side, it did do that. So that white acrylic paint that's on that little scrap now looks pink. I don't love that, and I don't know why this paint does that. So I went ahead and put down my circles around the page. I am making my title My Pillar. Now, I did want this to have a different title. I cannot for the life of me remember what it was, but I didn't have enough letters in this particular thicker pack, so I ended up putting My Pillar. It might have been Strength, it might have been something that had an S in it, and I didn't have any S's left, so I called it My Pillar. And the photo is a photo, I was taking a photo, a selfie of me, and you can see Jim in the background, and he's taking a photo of me, so we were kind of like taking photos of each other at this point. I was sitting in the room when I went in for my surgery. They put me back in this room by myself for a couple hours, and then finally they let Jim come back. I'm like crying and weeping, and they're like, we're gonna send your husband in. I'm like, yeah, that might be good. So they gave me something. I don't even know what it was. Could have been Ativan. I have no idea, but it made me feel better. And then Jim came in, so we were sitting there talking for the duration of the time. I had to go in really early, and my surgery wasn't until several hours later, but when I went in, that's the only time that the radiologist, anesthesiologist, I don't know, whoever, one of the doctors that were involved, you know, it's like a big group, right? One of them, that's the only time he had available to see me. So that's why I had to go in so early. So I had to sit in this room for a long time, and Jim came in and sat with me. And you can see in my face, I'm all puffy and ready. It's because I was crying. I was like scared to death, right? Oh my word, I never want to do that thing again. So anyways, I'm talking in my journaling, I just talk about him, blah, blah, blah. All this smushy stuff. Y'all don't need to know. You hear too much smushy stuff about him, you probably want to vomit on yourself already. Okay, so I did use a lot of the moths that I had fussy cut out of the moth paper that was part of the Pick Me Up. And also there was this other paper that had these little words in them outlined in frames. I did fussy cut a couple of those out. One that says love and one that says memory. Memory is going to go on the top circle and love is going to go on the circle that is actually on that photo. I am going to use this moth die cut piece. It's not something I fussy cut out, if you can believe that. It was actually in the die cut pack. It's pink and has some gold foil on it. It's really cute. I do use that right there at the bottom left of that photo, and I do end up putting another moth down there by it. So now that I've figured out the picture-in-picture part of Premier Elements 14, I can do that probably a little better in the future. I just need to make sure I keep a hold of the page that has that sketch on it, right? Because I would have loved to have taken a picture of the sketch and then put that in there with just that, but I couldn't find it. Or I probably could have looked at my digital files, but again, guys, you know I'm lazy, right? I'm not going to go and spend 30 minutes looking for this particular page in a digital file. I'm not going to do that. Love you, but I am not doing that. So going forward, probably I'll just take a picture of the sketch and put it in there. I just showed you some Zots. Zots are what I'm using to put down all those little moths around the page. Okay, so we had talked about in a previous, I told you we weren't talking together. I mean, probably we were. You're probably saying things to me and I couldn't hear you. But anyway, we were talking about in a previous video about I don't have to do chemo, so that's a yay. But I do have to take this medication and it does affect my short-term memory. I've been on it for a few weeks now and man, I almost had a meltdown the other day at work because there were things I was trying to remember, and it wasn't work related even. I was just trying to, this word, right? This word, what is this word called? And I couldn't remember it, and I was getting so frustrated. I seriously almost had a meltdown. It was really bad. And that happened 2 times in one day, and I'm like, oh, this is not going to work for me. Let me tell you what. Historically, in my family, on my mom's side, the women get dementia when they're in their late 70s, early 80s. If I am blessed enough to live that long, I'm not going to handle it well. I'm probably going to be one of those mean dementia patients because I'm going to be so frustrated that I can't remember the things, right? Oh, yeah, I was so frustrated. Also, a couple days ago, I had my first hot flash, so that was fun. It was not fun. I think I know maybe just a small amount what hell feels like. So kind of I want to change my ways, you know, so I don't have to visit there. Because, guys, hot flashes, they are no joke. You're like on fire. You're hot. But you're not hot in a good way. You're not like hot like, oh, look at me, I'm a Victoria's Secret. You are not. You're like seriously blazing. It is the most awful thing. Why do we have to do that as women? Because even if I wasn't on the meds, I'd eventually get to the age where I'd hit menopause, right? And have hot flashes. What is that all about? Why are we tortured with that? I don't even understand. That is bonkers. Okay, so I did pull out the Heidi Swapp Color Shine in Gold, and I am giving that a splatter on the page. You saw when I was running my mouth about stupid stuff, I did use some rub-ons. Just a couple little teeny tiny hearts I rubbed around the circles. I did put some gold sequins down, and also I used some little gold chipboard hearts. They're so cute. I love those. Right here I'm showing you the chipboard pack. This is actually where I'm putting the hearts down. I haven't done it yet. Sorry, my bad. Oh, I just said my bad. My word, guys. Did you see that post? I think it was on Paper Issues, and it was kind of a negative post. I didn't really understand why someone would start that, but beside the point. They're asking what words really annoy you, and my bad was one of them, and just saying, and I know right, and all these people were listening to these things, and so I post, and I'm like, well, every time I open my mouth, one of those words or one of those phrases in that list comes out of my mouth every single time. Can we still be friends? Because I didn't want to really contribute any words because it was completely negative. I didn't really like that part of it. So I was just kind of bringing a little levity to it, right? All right, guys. After I do whatever I did when I was running my mouth, I don't do anything else to this layout. I want to thank you so much for joining me. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you next time. Bye, guys.